What's good? Live stream, right? Alright. What's good, fam? Peace. Islam. So, clarity. Make sure everything is looking good. Alright. So this video is going to be about clarity on the position of the African titled Moor. Alright? Two things we need to understand is that we are people of African nativity and African descent. Give me 1 second. All right. So, we are peoples of either African nativity or African descent. Oh, and if people have been trying to reach out to me, my phone is acting a little funny duddy. It's acting funny duddy. So obviously I'm getting another one, but just please bear with me. All right. So if anyone's hitting me up and I'm not getting back, it's because I can't see it. Okay. So that being said, let's continue to move forward. All right. So clarity on the position of the African titled Moor. Let's get right into it. We're going right into expatriation and citizenship. Expatriation and citizenship. I love this thing. Yeah. Switch over. So I'm gonna start here. Africans. Okay? Now I believe I covered this in the last video when we was talking about Africans being aliens. But let's continue to stay focused on this point right here, alright? Let's not stray from the fact. The status of free native-born Negroes before the adoption of the 14th Amendment is no longer of practical importance so far as the Negro is concerned. Okay? But the subject is too important a one to be omitted without consideration at all. It is conceived that a brief survey of the more important cases bearing on that topic will not be wholly without some suggestive value insofar as they throw light upon questions concerning the status of the inhabitants of the Philippines and Puerto Rico. Accordingly, a number of cases are outlined below, but it should be said that the cases dealing with the enforcement of the fugitive slave laws have been purposely omitted from consideration. It seems unnecessary to cite cases for the proposition that slaves were not citizens, since this is sufficiently established by the whole history of the country and the expressions in the Constitution itself. As to free Negroes, there are two lines of authority, directly in conflict with the third line midway between. First, decisions holding that free Negroes were citizens. Cases adjudicated both before and since the Civil War have declared that free Negroes were citizens. One of the earliest cases to this point is State v. Manuel, 1838, in which the court announced the doctrine in the following language. According to the laws of the state, all human beings within it who are not slaves fall within one of two classes. Whatever distinctions may have existed in the Roman law between citizens and free inhabitants, they are unknown to our institutions. Before our revolution, all free persons born within the dominions of the King of Great Britain, whatever their color or complexion, were native-born British subjects. Those born out of his allegiance were aliens. Those born out of his allegiance were aliens. Those born out of his allegiance were aliens. Those born out of the jurisdiction of the King of Great Britain. Okay? Slavery did not exist in England, but it did exist in the British colonies. Slaves were not, in legal parlance, persons, but property. Okay? The moment the incapacity or disqualification of color was removed, they became persons. Alright? So once the disqualification, meaning once color didn't matter anymore, that's when persons came into play. Because it's no longer, because both so-called white and black people have persons now. Okay? So it doesn't matter about the complexion anymore. Anybody gets it. Where am I at? Okay. Disqualification of color was removed. They became persons and were then either British subjects or not British subjects. So now, we still have persons. They're still persons. The only difference now is that person a British subject or is that person not a British subject? Okay? According as they were or were not born within the allegiance of the British king. So this right here is talking about trust. Okay? This portion right here. So if you create a trust that's not in the jurisdiction of the King of Great Britain, which the United States is in allegiance to, via the private bankers, the Queen of England, the Pope, aka, etc., etc., okay, then your persons is not a subject, not a British subject. Your persons is your subject. Okay? So slaves became persons. So now, if we really want to be real, every being is in possession of a slave. Only difference is whether that person is aware or not. You know what I'm saying? Do they think they are that person or don't they? Do they think that they do business with that person or that person is separate from them? Upon the Revolution, no other change took place in the law of North Carolina than was consequent upon the transition from a colony dependent on a European king to a free and sovereign state. Let me read that again. Upon the Revolution, no other change took place in the law of North Carolina than was consequent upon the transition from a colony dependent on a European king to a free and sovereign state. A free and sovereign state. A free and sovereign, a free, I can't even, a free and sovereign state. Here we go. Slaves remained slaves. British subjects in North Carolina became North Carolina freemen. British subjects in North Carolina became North Carolina freemen. Slaves remained slaves though. You see? But the so-called subjects coming from another jurisdiction, born in another jurisdiction, are not within the bounds of that king. So they can be what? Freemen. Foreigners, until made members of the state, continued aliens. Okay? Slaves manumitted here became freemen. And therefore, if born within North Carolina, are citizens of North Carolina, and all free persons born within the state are born citizens of the state. A few only of the principal objections which have been urged against this view of what we considered the legal doctrine will be noticed. It has been said that the Constitution of the United States, the power of naturalization has been conferred exclusively upon Congress, and therefore it cannot be competent for any state by its municipal regulations to make a citizen. But what is naturalization? Hold on, I don't want to lose myself where I'm at. So right here they're going to Indians, but we're not Indians. I covered that in another video. So I'm going to keep going further down here, back to where we was at. But I want to push forward a little bit. Because right now we're talking about whether or not free Negroes are citizens of the United States. Here we go. What is naturalization? So, naturalization is the removal of the disabilities of alienage. Naturalization is the removal of the disabilities of alienage. Emancipation is the removal of the incapacity of slavery. The latter depends wholly upon the internal regulations of the state. The former belongs to the government of the United States. It would be a dangerous mistake to confound them. Meaning naturalization is the removal of the disabilities of alienage. Meaning now, if we're natural to the land, right? Meaning we were in existence here before the creation of the United States in 1776. You understand what I'm saying? Then and only then, I'm sorry, 1774. Then and only then, you know what I'm saying? Which is a fact, we were in existence before 1774, so that states that by default we are alien to the creation of an entity that came into existence after the fact. We were on the land already living, already had our own government established. So we're not aliens to the land, we are aliens to the entity. All right, we're aliens to the pilgrims or the colonizers. You have to understand, or the Romans, or the Constantinians, or the Christians. All right, nothing personal. This is what the history is. So don't get this confused. Emancipation is the removal of the incapacity of slavery. Because slavery keeps you incapacitated. You stupid, you dumb, you deaf and you blind. That's what slavery do to you. So emancipation is the removal of that. That's what the Emancipation Proclamation was. The removal of the incapacity of slavery. But it still is upon us as people to make that manifest. The Emancipation wasn't a magical document that made people free. It was a worldwide acknowledgement that, hey, it's on you now. That's what that was. That was an international, the ball's in your court. The ball is in your court now. What you gonna do? Shoot or dribble? Shoot or dribble or pass? What you gonna do? All right? Don't get that confused. Why would you need to naturalize unless you're not natural to it already? You see what I'm saying? Why would you, if you're already natural to something, why do you need to naturalize? Why do you need to adopt? The only reason you need to adopt is if you are not natural to that thing. So why be a part of something you are not natural to? You're automatically going against your biological cells. automatically. It's best to be within yourself. So, the court then pointed out that under their state constitution, every free man who had arrived at the age of 21 and paid a public tax without regard to color, claimed and exercised the franchise. Claimed and exercised the franchise. What's a franchise? 14th Amendment U.S. citizen. That was in the bankruptcy of the United States. Congressional Record 1993. House Joint Resolution. See how you just start connecting the pieces? Claimed and exercised the franchise until it was taken from freemen of color a few years since by our amended Constitution. It would thus seem that the ratification of the Constitution in North Carolina may have been due in part to the votes of free Negroes. This is one of the very strongest opinions holding that free Negroes are citizens. Right? The next case in point of time is that of Tanis, C. Doe, 1852, which held that free Negro residents of Florida at the time for our purchase became, by virtue of the wording to the treaty, citizens of the United States. On the general question of citizenship of free Negroes, of course, this case is of little value. You see what I'm saying? So on the general question of citizenship of free Negroes, of course, this case is of little value. Because this doesn't really matter to us, right? Because we already have our own thing going. So it doesn't really matter if we're part of this entity that came into existence after the fact or not, because we already got our own thing going. The only reason why we started chasing after their creations is because we abandoned our own. We abandoned our own creativity, our own godship, and our own will to self-govern. We gave it to someone else. So, the next expression on the subject was given in 1857 when the Justice of the Supreme Court of Maine, in answer to an interrogatory addressed to them by the order of the Senate, right, Senate of the state, under date of March 26, 1857, declared that free Negroes of the age of 21 years and upward were, under the laws of Maine, electors for governors, senators, and representatives. While it will be seen that the decision is not as expressed squarely to the point that free Negroes are citizens, the decision really went to that extent, since their Constitution required that all electors should be male citizens of the United States. See what I'm saying? So every state has different laws, and they're all trying to figure out how we're going to function with these free Negroes. Even though they already knew who we were, their job is to suppress that. And of course, we know we're not Negroes, but this is how they refer to us. So there's no point in getting emotional about it. They refer to us as Negroes, whether we call ourselves Moors or not. So if that's what they say under their breath and shit, or they thinking in their mind, or they writing it in documents, it's whatever. At least they being upfront about it. That's how they feel about us. We're Negroes. See what I'm saying? Don't matter what we do, we will be Negroes. So fuck them. We don't need their approval or exception. We never did. It was the other way around. Treaty, Peace, Friendship, 1786. Recognized, United States. First country. You gotta comprehend this, yo. They needed approval, not us. To the point now where, you know what I'm saying, we're in such a state that, you know what I'm saying, people who are operating and functioning off of the very system that we created are trying to figure out what the hell to do with us. Slaves and free ones. Like, this is craziness, man. Later in 1865, this of course is happening during this 1865, that's Lincoln's last year as president, the General Assembly of Connecticut adopted a resolution requesting the judges of the Supreme Court to convene and give their opinion upon the question whether a Negro is or is not a citizen of the United States within the meaning of that phrase as used in the amendment to the Constitution of the state adopted in October 1845. The court declared Chief Justice Hinman not expressing an opinion that in their opinion a free colored person born in this state is a citizen of the state and of the United States. Now, in 1866, the matter came up before a United States Circuit Court in United States versus Rhodes 1866, and the court, after a very elaborate discussion of the cases, concluded that, notwithstanding the Dred Scott case, free colored persons had always been entitled to be regarded as citizens of the United States. In the same year, the question was considered in an Indiana court in Smith versus Moody, 1866. It is not clear whether the court had in mind the condition of Negroes after the 14th Amendment only. The conclusion was reached, however, that free Negroes were citizens. It is not clear whether the court had in mind the condition. It is not clear whether the court had in mind the condition of the Negroes after the 14th Amendment. The condition. What is synonymous with condition? The state, the status of Negroes after the 14th Amendment. Only. The conclusions was reached, however, that free Negroes were citizens. Right? There's a reason why we're going through all these case laws. Trust me. It is not clear from the court's language whether or not he considered them merely citizens of the state or citizens of the United States, but the latter seems to have been within his view. The case of Fable versus Fable, 1835, contains an elaborate consideration both by counsel and court of the question of the status of slaves. See note to this opinion explaining the earlier case of Candrall versus State, 10 Con 339, in which Daggett, Chief Justice, in charging the jury, expressed a contrary view. These are the most important cases in which the question has come up, in only one of which, prior to the Civil War, State versus Manuel, was there a square decision on a suit pending before the court that free Negroes were citizens. Second, decisions holding that free Negroes were not citizens. One of the earliest cases on this point is that of Amy versus Smith, 1822. The question was brought up through an action of trespass, assault, and battery, and false imprisonment, sued out by the plaintiff, a woman of color, against the defendant. The case turned, among other things, on the point whether or not the plaintiff was a citizen, the court holding that she was not. A distinction was made between the words citizen and subject, the former being made the narrower term. In the course of his opinion, the court said, prior to the adoption of the federal constitution, the states had a right of making citizens of any persons they pleased. Because the states at that point were countries before the adoption of the federal constitution. But as the Constitution does not authorize any but white persons to become citizens of the United States, it furnishes a presumption that none others were citizens at the time of its adoption. So what this is saying right here is that if you weren't a white person, there's no way in the world you could be a citizen of the United States. Understand when they say white person, they're meaning status. Okay? Now, understand that this same United States is built off of a system that was originally built by the original people. We are the descendants of the original people. So yes, we are a part of the United States of America because we built the motherfucking United States of America. No apologies about that. None whatsoever. But we can't stray from the fact that they've taken something good that we built and they distorted it and turned it into something else for their gain. But we're going to get into that as we read further. So, Okay? So only white persons were to become citizens of the United States. Now, the case of Crandall versus State, in which Draggett charged a jury to the effect that a free Negro was not a citizen, is the next case in point of time. In 1838, a Tennessee court gave an opinion. This is 4 years later. A Tennessee court gave an opinion upon the matter in State versus Claiborne, 1838, 1 Meigs, right? In which, after examining the question and declaring that under the laws of Tennessee, free Negroes had few privileges that were common to the white citizens of the state, it used the following language. How can it be said that he enjoys all the privileges of citizens when he is scarcely allowed a single right in common with the mass of the citizens of the state? Right? Talking about referencing the Negroes. Right? It cannot be, and therefore either the free Negro is not a citizen in the sense of the Constitution, or if a citizen, he is entitled to all the privileges and immunities of the most favored class of citizens. But this latter consequence will be contended for by no one. It must then follow that they are not citizens. Okay? So pretty much what this judge was saying was that how can we say that they're citizens when they clearly don't have the rights, when they clearly don't have the same rights and privileges as the rest of the people of the state do? Obviously, dogs, water hose, separation of fountains, getting mocked and stuff thrown at while trying to go to school, threatening letters, bricks through homes, setting homes on fire. What else? A group of white coats standing out front of your house, all with torches, coming in to pull your brother or your sister or your lover out the house to go lynch them. Clear as day. You cannot misread that, right? You cannot misread that. But at the same token, understand the same inflictions we're receiving, we were giving at one point. Okay, so it's even. We're even Steven. That's why I said there is no hard feelings. What has been done to us, we were doing to them. Okay, they didn't ask to be treated like that. So, and when I say they, I mean the Caucasoid people. They did not ask to be treated like that. They did not ask to be subjected as slaves. They did not ask to be made to be thrown into harems, to be sold off as concubines. They didn't ask for none of that. They didn't ask to be put in caves. They didn't ask for none of that shit. No person in their right mind wants to be treated like that. So we don't have no excuse to be upset at how we got treated. Okay? We did some horrible things too, man. Alright, so there's blood on both hands. So, let's keep on going. In Pendleton versus State 1846, the plaintiff had been indicted under a local statute which prohibited the immigration and settlement of free Negroes or free persons of colors into this state. Immigration with the E means that you're coming back home, like you have to leave because of an emergency and you're coming back home. Okay, so that would be like a reversal of the Trail of Tears. That's what immigration is, the reversal, meaning you see how they have to leave their original homes? If they were to go back, because the Cherokee and all those tribes ended up going to Oklahoma, right, and settling there. If they were to come back home, that would be immigration for them, not immigration. All right? And settlement of free Negroes or free persons of color into this state. Free Negroes or free persons of color. Okay? The plaintiff pleaded the second section of the fourth article of the Constitution of the United States, which provides that citizens of one state shall be entitled to all the privileges and immunities of the citizens of the several states. After quoting the remarks of the court in Amy versus Smith, the judge continued, if citizens in a full and constitutional sense, why were they not permitted to participate in its formation? They certainly were not. The Constitution was the work of the white race. The government for which it provides and of which it is the fundamental law is in their hands and under their control. And it could not have been intended to place a different race of people in all things upon terms of equality with themselves. Meaning, why would a race of other people create a system so they can thrive, but create it in a way where you can be, where other people can be on an equal footing with them, and it's their system, right? That's called home court advantage. You would never give someone home court advantage willingly. Okay? That's what that's saying right there. Home court advantage. Right? If citizens in a full and constitutional sense, why were they not permitted to participate in its formation? They certainly were not. The Constitution was the work of the white race, the government for which it provides and of which it is the fundamental law. It is in their hands and under their control, and it could not have been intended to place a different race of people in all things upon terms of equality with themselves. Indeed, if such had been the desire, its utter impracticability, man, I'm so tongue-tied. Impracticability is too evident to admit or doubt. The two races differing as they do in complexion, habits, conformation, and intellectual endowments, could not nor ever will live together upon terms of social or political equality. So this is how this judge is stating how he feels about us. Right? This is a judge ruling in a case. All right? So this is documented fact. This is law. Right? This is precedents in a sense. Okay? This is precedents. So now you have, man, that word just reminded me too that I did have I did have a private attorney as one of my professors in college, at Five Towns College. He was talking about precedents. That just brought back memories. Right. Right? So, intellectual and political equality. A higher than human power. So pretty much what they're stating, I'm going back to this here. First of all, they feel like there's a complete separation between us in complexion, the habits, the conformation, and intellectual endowments. Okay? Meaning that they're civilized and we are not. So there's no way in the world they could see us. There's no way in the world they would see us as beings, as God, in a sense, right? A higher than human power has so ordered it, and a greater than human agency must change the decree. Those who framed the Constitution were aware of this, and hence their intention to exclude them as citizens within the meaning of the clause to which we have referred. Right? In Cooper and Warsham, the plaintiff applied under a writ of habeas corpus for discharge from imprisonment in pursuance to an ordinance of the city of Savannah, okay, which provided that each free person of color removed into the city should pay the sum of $100, or in default thereof should be arrested and confined in the city jail until such sum was paid. The court held that the ordinance, this is a city that passed this ordinance, okay? Just to show you how savage these niggas was back then with that. This is the city of Savannah. I can't say I know which state the city of Savannah is in, but at that point, they passed the law. They passed the city ordinance in which all free persons who moved to the city had to pay $100, and if they didn't pay, they would be arrested and confined in the city jail until the sum was paid. What type of stuff is that? The court held that the ordinance was repugnant to the laws of the state and so void, but began its opinion by declaring that free persons of color have never been recognized here as citizens. They are not entitled to bear arms, vote for members of the legislature, or to hold any civil office. They have always been considered as in a state of pupillage and been regarded as our wards. You know, pupillage is like pupils. Hey, this is my pupil, my understudy. And regarded as our wards. And for that very reason, we should be extremely careful to guard and protect all the rights secured to them by our municipal regulations. They have no political rights, but they have personal rights, one of which is personal liberty. You understand? You understand? So now understanding that these states that we have today, these corporate states, are colonies. The state ofs are the colonies. I want you to comprehend that. Those are the colonies that are part of the EU. Yes, I know the EU broke up. Things are happening. This is why I want you to catch up. European Union, okay? So now, the United States of America we're talking about is the Articles of Confederation, 1774. That is the, Articles of Confederation, which was put out in 1777, right? Right. 1777. This dude right here is just soaking up all this juice right here, man. Man, it's crazy. He's quiet too. He's just sitting there just listening. I just see his eyes. He's just attentive, looking at me. You understand everything I'm saying? You understand everything I'm saying? You overstand everything I'm saying? So, with that being said, okay, where we at here? So now we have no political rights, no personal rights, right? Because these are the colonies. Now the United States of America we're referring to is the United States within the Articles of Confederation, okay, which was the United States of America General Congress Assembled, all right, or the United States of America and Congress Assembled, which was the Moroccan Empire, the Moorish states, the government, Al-Maroc. You understand? This is the United States we're referring to. This is the government we are citizens of. Not the stuff they created after 1791. All right, the 1791 Constitution is for the United States, which they adopted from the way we operated according to the law of the Great Peace. You understand what I'm saying? The Iroquois Confederacy. Those were us. We gave them the law. We forgot the law. All right? So we got to rise back upon the law. So let's go here. The reporter has added to this case the following note. By a joint resolution of the legislature of Georgia in 1842, it was unanimously resolved that free Negroes are not citizens of the United States and that Georgia will never recognize such citizenship. So everyone who's living in Georgia right now, just know how they really feel about you. You are not citizens of the United States and you will never be recognized with such citizenship. Because it ain't yours. That's theirs. And that's not even Georgia. That's Sparta. That's where the Spartans domicile. Ask someone from Georgia if I'm lying. Sparta is in Georgia. Georgia is Sparta. Alright? So you need to be like the Spartans and have your own domicile. Have your own government structure. Alright? Now, the next case in point of time was the great Dred Scott decision, 1856. Right? It is now universally conceded that the greater portions of the opinions in that case are elaborate dicta and that, as the pleading stood, the question purported to be decided, namely, the citizenship of free Negroes could not, under any proper view, have been before the court. However, this much should be said. There can certainly be no question, it would seem, but that had the question been actually before the court, it would have determined against citizenship. No stronger evidence of the truth of this remark could be submitted than the facts which attended the repeated argument of that case and the pains taken by the majority of the court in attempting to bring that question within their view for determination. Their expressions on the question were unequivocal. In the course of his opinion, Chief Justice Taney said, The words people of the United States and citizens are synonymous terms and mean the same thing. You know why? Because no government is run by itself. It's run by people. So this is one government. And the people of that government are its citizens. And citizens means members. Okay? Citizen doesn't mean subject. Citizen just means member. Like, hey, you're a member of my family. You know, like family member. So if I say I'm the family, I'm a member of the L family. What I'm saying is I'm a citizen of a L. I'm a citizen of L. Okay? That's what I'm saying. All right? I'm a citizen of L. So the same thing. Citizen means member. Now, they both describe the political body who, according to our Republican institutions, form the sovereignty and who hold the power and conduct the government through their representatives. They are what we familiarly call the sovereign people, and every citizen is one of this people and a constituent member of this sovereignty. So do you understand now? You can't have sovereignty by yourself. You can be a member of a sovereign people, right? You can be a part of that, but you can't be sovereign on your own. All right? We sovereign collectively, together as people. So, and you have to understand now, according to our Republican institutions, what is an institution? An institution is an entity, organization, right? So therefore, the Republican form of government is operated according to Republican institutions, which form the sovereignty collectively, meaning the states, even the Moorish states, right? The Moorish Science Temple of America is part of this Republican form of government, in which every institution or state has their own representative. So the sovereign people decide, hey, you speak on our behalf. This is what we want done. Go make it happen. Simple. Simple. All right. So, the question before us is whether the class of persons described in the plea and abatement compose a portion of this people and are constituent members of this sovereignty. We think they are not, and that they are not included and were not intended to be included under the word citizens in the Constitution, and can therefore claim none of the rights and privileges which that instrument provides for and secures to citizens of the United States. On the contrary, they were at that time considered as a subordinate and inferior class of beings. Once again, talking about the Negroes, who had been subjugated by the dominant race, and whether emancipated or not, yet remained subject to their authority. You see right here, whether emancipated or not. So whether, what's the food? All right, I'll make you some food. So whether or not, listen to me now, whether or not emancipated, meaning whether you knew or not that the ball's in your court, you still remain subject to their authority, and therefore had no rights or privileges but such as those who held the power and the government might choose to grant them. Meaning we chose not to go and do our own thing. So now we are subject to someone else's thing. This decision, of course, was not without its effect. And Susan, if someone's feeling depressed right now, don't worry. Don't worry. I'm going through this like this for a reason. All right? Just bear with it. All right? But understand what's being said here. So these constitutions don't apply to us. They don't apply to us. They're not meant for us. We're going to see why as I continue to read. But let's take a little break here. All right? I want you to absorb everything that's been said. Okay? So we're going to take a quick break. All right? I'm going to turn off the mic. what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play some music in the meantime. I'm gonna give little homie some food, and we'll get right back to it. All right.
Music entertainment. Ill Music Entertainment. Ill Music Entertainment.
Alright, thank you for holding. We back. What I should do is I should check the chat. See what's going on. Alright, so everything's straight. So, cool, that's the rate, no need to worry about that. Alright, so let's continue where we left off at. We're going in today, y'all. We're going in. Let's clap it up. We're going in today. So, Now, we're over here now. Okay. Just finished reading this. This was our last break now, right? Now, this decision, of course, was not without its effect, and cases arising in the South thereafter cited it for the proposition which the Chief Justice announced. So pretty much in this, he announced that people of the United States and citizens are synonymous, all right? And the Republican institutions is what forms a Republican form of government. And each institution has representatives selected by the people of that institution or organization, called the people. Those are sovereign people. So, this is what Justice Taney, like I said, is pretty much saying that we are not the same class of beings. He's saying the Negro is inferior. Once again, civilized, we are savages. Right? This is what's being said. This is not what is true. Okay? And want to beat down on our self-esteem by calling us all these different things like Negroes, you know what I'm saying? Negroes and all these things, but it doesn't matter. Okay? What matters at the end of the day is that you know who you are. And you know who you are not. It's real simple. All that other stuff in between don't really matter. Alright? So being that we were subject to their authority, why? Because whether we were emancipated or not, meaning that the power was vested back within us to formulate our own state and live accordingly to our own laws. We didn't. We chose to what? Remain subject to their authority. So, if a man took his time to write down his laws so that his people could thrive, there's no way in the world he's going to allow another person of a different race to be able to thrive in a system that he created just for his people to thrive. That'll be working against himself. You see how that makes sense? So no man in his right mind would do that. I would never make or want to start or be a part of an organization, right? Like, really think about this. I would never want to start or be a part of an organization rather than do something for myself. Why would I want to live according to someone else's laws when I can live according to my own? Like, why? Why would I want to do that? Obviously, by doing that, they got something over me. So yes, we are inferior. You have to understand why. This is going to plug in. Watch. I'm going to pull up right here. Black's Law Dictionary. This shit blew my mind. Find out what inferior means. I'm doing all these slow. Inferior. Black's Law Dictionary. With these things sometimes, the definitions, right? The spelling be looking hella crazy. I don't be feeling that sometimes. Like, I want the right spelling, but whatever. I'll read this properly for you guys, alright? One who in relation to another has less power and is below him. That's what inferior is. First one, right? Second one. One who is bound to obey another. Okay? One who is bound to obey another. He who makes the law is the superior. Let me read this one more time now. He who makes, I know it says lie, but it's supposed to be he. He who makes the law is superior. He who makes the law is superior. So if he who makes the law is the superior, so the person or the people that write the law for themselves to govern, they are superior? And so that means if that's what being superior, if that is superior, then what is inferior? He who is bound to obey it, the inferior. Right there. Master, slave. Okay? Moorish Science Temple of America, United States of America. Do you see the distinction now? He who makes the law is the superior. He who is bound to obey it, the inferior. So let's go back here now. Whoa. They were at that time considered as a subordinate and inferior class of beings who had been subjugated by the dominant race and whether emancipated or not, yet remained subject to their authority. Because after the emancipation drop, no one was like, yo, let's start writing. Yo, let's make our own. We need to have our own laws. Let's get the right. We got gummed up. We got gummed up in our process. It's all good though. It's all good though. It's still going to get done one way or another. But our process did get gummed up. Alright? Because we were supposed to be past this point maybe like 150 years ago. Alright? We got gummed up a little bit. It's all good though. It's all good though. It's all good. So now, let's go down here. This is where it starts to get good. Alright? Defendant Elijah Newsom, a free person of color, was indicted for unlawfully carrying about his person one shotgun without having obtained a license therefor. Do you see the language here? Elijah Newsom, a free person of color, was indicted for unlawfully carrying about his person his 14th Amendment one shotgun without having obtained a license therefor. Because if you're a 14th Amendment citizen, you need to get a license to carry. That's not a right granted. The United States has the right to grant you the right. And they say if you don't got a license, you ain't got no right to hold no gun, to hold no arm. Excuse my language. You don't have a right. But even then, you gotta understand that wouldn't be a shotgun. He was carrying an arm. Remember now, about his person, okay? Without having obtained a license, therefore, contrary to the provisions of a statute, which applies to the person, the 14th Amendment citizen, the chattel property. In holding that this statute was constitutional and therefore that free Negroes might not carry firearms without a license, the court said, we must therefore regard it as a principle settled by the highest authority, the organic law of the country, that the free people of color cannot be considered as citizens in the largest sense of the term, or if they are, they occupy such a position in society as justifies the legislature in adopting a course of policy in its act peculiar to them, so that they do not violate those great principles of justice which ought to lie at the foundation of all laws. You see what I'm saying? Highest authority, the organic law of the country, which would be the Constitution, that the free people of color cannot be considered as citizens in the largest sense of the term, or if they are, they occupy such a position in the society as justifies the legislature in adopting a course of policy in its act peculiar to them. You know what act that they're talking about that would be peculiar to us? Let's go right here. You ever heard of the Christian black codes? You ever heard of the Christian black codes? You never heard of the Christian black codes, huh? 1724? This is the Christian black codes right here. We're going to go through a few articles, all right? Because these are the things that was made in place for Negroes. So I just want you to get it. Okay? Because this has to deal... We're just going to go. The Christian Black Code of 1724. Article 1 decrees the expulsion of the Jews from the colony. Article number 2, make it imperative on masters to impart religious instruction to their slaves. Imperative on masters to impart religious instruction to their slaves. Article 3 permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic's creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic's creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Meaning we can't exercise no type of African or spiritual habits and customs that we've always practiced. This is what this code is for the Negroes, for the 14th Amendment citizens, right? Negroes placed under the direction or supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. Negroes placed under the direction or supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. You know who's liable to confiscation? The Negroes. You know what? That's a nice way of saying kidnap. That's a nice way of saying kidnap. You ain't under the supervision or direction, aka protection, of a Catholic, nigga, you liable to get kidnapped. You liable to get killed. You liable to get lynched. You liable to get hung, man. Sundays and holidays are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated. So at least they were nice. They didn't allow the Negroes to work on Sundays, for real. And if you were caught working on Sunday, they confiscated your ass. That means even the Negroes of today who work on Sunday are actually supposed to get confiscated, according to the Christian Black codes. But we forbid our white subjects of both sexes. You see? So the white subjects, that'll be the so-called what? The white people. They're subjects too. There's no color thing in this no more. It's free for all. But however, they did explicitly say, our white subjects of both sexes, male and female, we forbid both sexes to marry with the blacks under penalty of being fined and subjected to some other arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, or missionaries of our secular or regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our navy to sanction such marriages. We also forbid all our white subjects and even the manumitted or freeborn blacks to live in a state of concubinage with slaves. Okay? Meaning that the white dude can't even have a harem of blacks. Should there be any issue from this kind of intercourse, it is our will that the person so offending and the master of the slave should pay each a fine of 300 livres. Should said issue be the result of concubinage of the master, his slave, said master shall not only pay the fine, but be deprived of the slave and of the children, who shall be adjudged to the hospital of the locality, and said slave shall be forever incapable of being set free. But shall this illicit intercourse have existed between a free black and his slave, when said slave, according to the forms prescribed by the church, said slave shall become free and legitimate, and in such case there shall be no application of the penalties mentioned in the present article. Did y'all peep that? So if a slave had intercourse with a free black, got prego, you know what I'm saying? Then that slave will become free and legitimate. But if it's the other way around, if a white marry a slave, if a white man marry a slave, it's off with his head. As you can tell, it's off with his head. But if a slave, why? Because a slave was also a Negro at that time. This is what they're talking about. They're talking about the Negroes, right? The slaves shall have intercourse with a free black, then they shall be made free and legitimate. I'm not going too deep into this, but this is what they're talking about. Things like that. Okay? This is why certain things are put in place for them, right? Adopting a course of policy in its act peculiar to them, so that they do not violate those great principles of justice which ought to lie at the foundation of all laws. Meaning they didn't want no mixing of the bloods. You see what I'm saying? That's a violation of the great principles. No mixing the blood. They want to stay pure. Now, in similar case of Eli versus Thompson, but we are still met by the argument that free persons of color are not parties to the political compact. This we cannot admit to the extent contended for. They are certainly in some measure parties, although they have not every benefit or privilege which the Constitution secures, yet they have many secured by it. We need not take the trouble of inquiring how far they are or are not parties. This is what this judge is saying in this case right here. 1820. Like, it don't matter. They do have some rights, so we shouldn't even waste our time going into how deep of how many of whether they are the parties of it. They do, whether they are or not, they have rights in reference to it. Right? That's what one judge is saying in 1820. Right? In Walsh versus Leland, 1873, the court, in passing upon the status of a free Negro in the year 1860, said a citizen in its largest sense is any native born or naturalized person who is entitled to full protection in the exercise and enjoyment of the so-called private rights. He declared the free Negro to be such a person, a private person. In Shaw versus Brown, 1858, the court seems to have faced. You done? Good. Was it good? Yummy.
That movie.
Yeah?
Face.
Him in the face?
Yes.
So you like the movie? Okay. I'll come join you and watch it with you in a little bit. I'm done with this work right here. Alright. Now, this is where it gets interesting, y'all. I want y'all to pay very, very close attention. Of all the BS I've been reading about how they feel about Negroes, right? I want you to pay very close attention. This right here is very important. This right here should tie in together Prophet Drew Ali, the Moorish Science Temple of America, what the Moorish Science Temple of America is, what the Zodiac Constitution is in place for, what the Prophet laid out for us, how he laid it out for us, in what form he laid it out for us, and the exact reason why. All these questions is going to be answered in this paragraph right here. Pay attention. Pay it. Pay it. Alright? Now, the court seems to have faced squarely the condition in which decisions holding that free persons were not citizens had forced the courts. He said, let's man, I'm gonna make this big. Let's make this big. Make this big. This is big right here. Alright? But Negroes born in the United States and free by the laws of the state in which they reside are in a different condition from aliens. They are natives and not aliens. Did y'all understand that? But listen now, this is after all the type of Negroes you've been hearing about. Inferior, less endowed, you know what I'm saying, subject, citizen, all these type of things here, right? They're not part of the original compact. The law wasn't written for them. They weren't meant to be included. Understand why. But Negroes born in the United States and free by the laws of the state in which they reside are in a different condition from aliens. They are natives and not aliens. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. This is important now. You know why? You know why it's important, Kenny? Because we're going to look up what the word reside means. We're going to look up what the word reside means. Reside.
Reside?
Yes, reside. We gonna learn today, y'all.
Why? I do. Why?
To live somewhere, such as a town or state. To live somewhere, such as a town or state. To live somewhere. To live somewhere. First of all, you're gonna find out what live mean in Black's Law Dictionary. Specifics. They do have that here. Nope, they don't. That's cool. I wouldn't expect that. It's perfectly fine. We're gonna go right here. Live, legal definition. See what you got for me. Now, live or live. Conscious, adjective, animate, animated, endowed with life, existing, full of life, growing, imbued with life, incarnate, living, mortal, quick, viable, vital. Live, existing, adjective, abiding, continued, enduring, existent, extent, intact, lasting, ongoing, perduring, persevering, persisting, progressing, staying, surviving, sustained, unceasing, unchecked, undestroyed, unended, unfading, unfailing, unreversed, unrevoked, unstopped. This is what live means, alright? Just live. We're just going over live. Okay? So live means unending, unchanged. We'll go back here just to get some more. Conscious, existing, endowed with life, full of life, growing, imbued, incarnate, with life, abiding, continued, existing, enduring, lasting, ongoing, persevering, persisting. You understand? This is what it means to live. This is what it means to live. Live. This is what it means to live. Okay? So now, reside. Let's go back. Because we did live. Now we're here for reside. Reside. Now, live means in a town to live. Reside means to live in a town or a state, right? To live in a town or state means to be conscious of a town or a state, or to exist in a town or a state, right? So let's see what a town is. Let's see what a town is. Let's see what a town is. What is a town? What is town? Let's go. In English law, originally, a will or tipping, but now a generic term which comprehends under it the several species of cities, boroughs, and common towns. A civil, political division of a state, varying in extent and importance, but usually one of the divisions of a county. In the New England states, the town is a political unit and is a municipal corporation. In some other states where the county is the unit, the town is merely one of its subdivisions, but possesses some powers of local self-government. In still other states, such subdivisions of a county are called townships, and town is the name of a village, borough, or smaller city. Okay? So town is the name of a borough, village, or smaller city. That's what a town is. What is a state? Right? Because reside means to live in a town or a state. And live means to be conscious and existing. Conscious and existing. What is a state? A body politic, or a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. One of the component commonwealths or states of the United States, the people of a state in their collective capacity, considered as the party wronged by a criminal deed, the public as in the title of a cause. All right? So to be conscious, reside. To be conscious and exist within a town, which is simply a borough, a village, or a smaller city. Right? Means to be conscious and exist in a borough, city, or to be conscious and exist within a body politic, or a society of men, like the Moorish Science Temple of America, where the people in their collective capacity, this is why we are part and parcel of this government. We are all collective. We're all a piece of the puzzle. See what I'm saying? So now, which they reside, right? But Negroes born in the United States and free by the laws of the state and free by the laws of the state in which they reside are in a different condition from aliens. They are natives and not aliens. So do you comprehend that? The Moorish Empire extends from North, South, Central America, going all the way into North Africa, what we call today Maghreb. All of that is our vast estate. Okay? That is where we reside. That is the society we built for ourselves to reside in. A Moorish society, aka the Moorish Science Temple of America. You understand? And the Moorish Science Temple of America is not a temple. It's not a building. It's an ecclesiastical theocratic government. Do you know, after the Moorish Science Temple of America was incorporated in 1928, you know what was incorporated the next year? Using the same principles and strategies that the Prophet used. You know what came into existence in 1929? 1 year after? The Vatican. So the Vatican established how their organization is set up according to how the Prophet established the Moorish Science Temple of America, according to Herdson's revised statutes of Illinois. This is okay. We're going to go into that. But this is important right here. This is important. All right? So we have our own laws, and free by the laws of the state in which they reside. Our state is the Moorish Science Temple of America. The laws in which we reside by in that state is the Zodiac Constitution. and the divine constitution and bylaws. Yes. Yes. Okay? The Moorish Science Temple of America is our country, or you could say our trust, right? Because you have the United States of America, and you got the Moorish Science Temple of America. One is a democracy, one is a republic. One came from what we built, one we built. Which one you want to go back to? The thing that came from what we built, or you want to go back to the thing that we actually built? You need to read the Articles of Confederation, the organic constitution for us. Okay? For us. That's the organic constitution for us as people. Alright? So check this now. So now mind you, but Negroes born in the United States and free by the laws of the state in which they reside are in a different condition from aliens, and state is people. By the laws of the people in which they reside. Amongst which people do you reside? Who do you live amongst? And at that point, their condition is different. Are in a different condition from aliens. They are natives and not aliens. This is what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. Moors are natives. Why? Because we have our own laws in place. Library of Congress is already there. Department of State, Department of Justice, we're already in there. The Prophet did everything already, y'all. We just got to tie in. It's like we just got to dock our ship in. Dock it in. Well, first we got to build our ship, right? First we got to build our ship, and then we got to sail it, and then we got to dock it. And once we dock it, then we can go set sail. We good. We protected under ecclesiastical law. The Prophet was too heavy, man. They wasn't ready for him at that time. They weren't ready for what he did. It's okay though. But let's continue reading. Though not citizens of the state in which they reside within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. Well, what? Wait. But they just said here, but Negroes born in the United States and free by the laws of the state in which they reside are in a different condition from aliens. They are natives and not aliens. So in order to be native, you got to be living according to your own. For one, you could be born as a Negro, born Negroes in the United States, and free, meaning yes, you were born in the United States, but you are governing and living according to the laws of your people, of your bloodline. That is your state. Okay? And by doing that, you are native and not alien. So understand what I'm saying. Africans of people of African nativity. I'm sorry, persons of African nativity and persons of African descent. Nativity would be the person born wherever they're at, wherever they're native to. Okay? We are natives of America. We were here before anybody else. And we was on Africa before anybody else. Point blank period. Okay? Point blank period. You have to understand there's a distinction between our laws and their laws. They said it right here. Though not citizens of the state in which they reside within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. So we can be citizens of a state, but not within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. Meaning not a citizen of Washington, not a citizen of New York, not a citizen of Colorado, not a citizen of Utah, not a citizen of Virginia. That's not what they're talking about. Those would be in the sense of the Constitution of the United States. But that's not what they're talking about. Because we're not citizens of the state in reference to the Constitution of the United States. They are inhabitants and subjects of the state, owing allegiance to it. Subjects of the state. Now a lot of people say, well, what? Subjects? Why we gotta be subjects? I don't mind being subject to myself. Would you have a problem being subject to yourself? Because if you take the time to live and abide by your own free laws of the state in which you reside, being the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? Meaning that you can create. This is what the Prophet laid out. We can each create our own vine and fig tree. We can create our own vine and fig tree. Or we can plant or grow our own vine and fig tree, right? And it's all tied under one, the Moorish Science Temple of America. That's why he said put everything in the name of the temple. We're going to understand why he said that down a little bit. All right? So let's continue now. This is important right here, man. And subjects of the state owing allegiance to it and entitled to protection by its laws and those of the United States. You understand? For by the common law and the law of nations, here we go with common law again, all persons born within the dominion of the sovereign are his natural born subjects and owe allegiance to him in obedience to the laws and are entitled to protection. It is true that these persons are a subordinate and inferior class of beings and have no rights, but such as those who hold the power and the government might choose to grant them. This is from Dred Scott. So we are the inhabitants. As long as we are living within or residing within our own state, not according to the Constitution of the United States, meaning we're living within the Moorish Science Temple of America, we're doing commerce, we're nationalized, we're abiding by the divine bylaws and Constitution, as well as the Zodiac Constitution. Okay, meaning he already put a private and a public constitution in place. So now we can create our own vine and fig trees, manifest our own laws, if we wish, in pursuance to those laws established according to the Moorish Science Temple of America. It's about being in alignment. It's about lining up. We gotta line up. The Prophet laid out everything we need to do. We just gotta line up. Meaning put our trust in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now I know a lot of people would be like, hey, I don't want to do that. I know what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. It's a temple. No, it's not. We're gonna check that in a second. Alright? We're gonna check that in a second. For by the common law and the law of nations, all persons born within the dominion of the sovereign. I ran through all this already. Right? But they derive their rights from the states in which they are domiciled. They derive their rights from the states in which they are domiciled. Okay? Now. So we need to understand how important it is to have our own laws in place. Because by not doing that, we're not natives. Meaning if you're just black or African American, but you understand the state constitution or whatever state you think you're living in, or the state in which you reside. So if you think you reside in a state within the sense of the Constitution of the United States, then you are a 14th Amendment citizen. This is if you're a Negro. You are a 14th Amendment citizen. I should recant that. Not if you're a Negro. If you are melanated, if you are of the original peoples, you are degrading yourself. You are defaming yourself. You are lowering your vibration. Okay? So, by just trying to rock out with the state constitution, we're not in alignment with our own law. We got our own law. And by not being in alignment with our own law, we are not being native. We're actually being alien. This is why the Prophet said we must enforce the Zodiac Constitution. He didn't say enforce the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm sorry, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He said you got to enforce the Constitution of this government. We are part and parcel of this government. But he did say one thing though. What did he say? He said, I'm going to make the European enforce my law. Did he not say that? He said, I'm going to make the European enforce my law. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you where he was right. Right on the money. Right on the money with that. You know why? They are inhabitants and subjects of the state, owing allegiance to it and entitled to protection by its laws and those of the United States. Meaning even the United States is going to enforce those laws in order to protect us. Because we're being natives, aka Moors. The Prophet was a genius, man. So, enough with that, because we're going to close out soon. So I'm going to end that on this right here. We're going to go right here. We're going to go right here. I'm going to just pull it up. I'm gonna just pull it up. See what I find here. Okay. I'm just going through different sites right here because I'm looking for Moorish Science Temple of America, 1928. All right, 1913 was the erected one. 1920 when he was in Chicago. All right. I want to see where this is going to go. I look at all sources, so let me see here. I'll need that. No, I ain't going there with it. Alright, that's it. What I'm gonna do is, here we go. Dang. We're gonna read this now, alright? In connection with the aims, objects, rules, and regulations of the Moorish Science Temple of America, I deem it proper to submit to you a brief statement of our organization, covering its inception, rise, and progress, and of the Mohammedan religion, which I hope will be satisfactory to you and be the means of causing you all times to adhere. You can go through this part of your damn self. I'm getting right here. We organized as the Moorish Science Temple, as the Moorish Temple of Science in the year of 1925. And were legally incorporated as a civic organization under the laws of the state of Illinois. November 29th, 1926, the name Moorish Temple of Science was changed to Moorish Science Temple of America, May 1928, in accordance with the legal requirements of the Secretary of the state of Illinois. The object of our organization is to help in the great program of upliftment for all humanity and teach those things to make our members better citizens. Which is kind of like saying citizens and citizens, because member means citizens, so I don't know, whatever. A national organization with a Rotarian complexion as it relates to branch temples, right? Branch, like a tree, became obvious with the increasing number of inquiries from men and women in different sections of the organization. There are branch temples in 15 different states at this time. Since the work of the Moorish Science Temple of America was largely religious, the organization has been legally changed to a religious corporation, and an affidavit to this effect has been properly filed in the Cook County Recorder's Office in Illinois. Okay? Now, I'm just going to go right for the jugular. That's it. So, this is what we're going to do right here. Real quick. I need to get to my folder. The articles on it. Need to get to my folder with the articles on there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put so this is what I mean by telling yourself back to the Moorish Empire and doing like the Prophet did. Go file that thing on the public record. You know what I'm saying? Incorporate. But not incorporated in the sense of a corporation. We gonna see. We gonna see. Yo. I'm talking to the world, Kenny. I'm talking to the world, man. Yeah. You see this right here, guys? Let me close it. See that right here? Our authority. Book 521, page 579, State of Illinois, Cook County. Number 1010-5905. Right? File for records, form number 1099. Be careful, Kenny. That's the plug over there, okay? Cook County, County of Cook, Corporation, religious affidavit of organization. Right? I can take your own time to read through this and get understanding. But understand something. See Heard's Revised Statutes, chapter 32 and 36. Okay? This right here. I, Noble Drew Ali, do solemnly swear that a meeting of the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America held at Chicago in the county of Cook in the state of Illinois on the 20th day of July, 1928. For that purpose, the following persons were appointed sheiks of the Moorish Science Temple of America, according to the rules and usages of such Mealy Eel, Small Bay, Lovett Bay, and Foreman Bay. The Moorish Science Temple of America, deriving its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning of the truth of the great prophet of Ali in America, to anoint, appoint, and consecrate missionaries of the prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America. Understand that faith means confidence. Faith means confidence. So to establish the confidence of Muhammad in America. You know what the confidence of Muhammad? Muhammad is no different than God, right? So if Muhammad is a reflection, right, of God, or used as a visual of God, then what am I? Then I'm Muhammad. Then wouldn't I be? Wouldn't the Muhammad be inside my? Wouldn't the Muhammad dwell inside my temple then? If we're saying we want to be like Muhammad, so when they say the Mohammedan, we're talking about a way of living. We're not even talking about going as far back as Tawido, which is an accumulation of everything, Muhammad and all that. So Muhammad ain't even like ancient. That's not even like ancient. All right, Islam ain't ancient. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff is modern. We're not even talking about the ancient practices and customs. All right, but and said Moorish Science Temple of America adopted as its corporate name the following: Moorish Science Temple of America. And at said meeting, this affiliate acted as presiding officer. Roberta W. Connell, Notary Public. What time was this bad boy filed? 2:52 p.m. 2:52 p.m. That's 9. So now we're going to see Heard's Revised Statutes, chapter 32 and 36. All right. I'm pretty sure if you just type in our authority in Google, that should pop up somewhere. Or you could just look up Prophet Drew Ali's actual filing in Cook County records. Yeah? What happened?
Huh?
What happened? Hold on. Here we go. Heard's Revised Statutes. Chapter 36. Chapter 32. See here. This was a good one. I like this one here. This joint right here, if you want a good understanding, I would get this right here. You know what? Let me put this. I'm gonna put this in the link. How about that one? How about that? How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
How about that?
Yeah, I'm putting in the link so y'all can read that too. Read. That gave me some good clarity, right? Because this is all about bringing some clarity. I'm trying to tie everything together. Everybody want to keep everything separate.
See that? See that? See that?
If they're butchering the audio, it'll be working as soon as I'm done. So that's the link right there to the good read. Alright?
I'll be there.
As you can see, people have
Renee. Look.
let's see that like that. Anyway, so this is like public. This is like public record. This ain't nothing new, right? Oh, this ain't it either. I need the actual statutes, man. And I actually need to watch that damn video too, the Moorish guy post, cause that's so crazy. This is exactly who I was looking for to watch earlier. Oh, that's so crazy. That's so crazy. Good, that's in my history now. Bang bang. Happy about that. Happy about that. I was looking for him, man. I couldn't remember which video. That was the exact video I was looking for too. That's so crazy. Anyway. I don't know why I keep bringing me here, but that's okay. We're gonna do this then. We're gonna do this then. Here we go. This is known as the Religious Corporation Act, all right? So you have the Illinois Religious Corporation Act. So we're gonna have a look at this here. So let's go here. Business organizations. 805 Illinois CS. I'm assuming that's statute 110, right? Religious Corporation Act. Section 0.01. Short title. I hope you guys can see this. Alright, short title. This act may be cited as the Religious Corporation Act. Section 35. Any church, congregation, or society, right? This is from chapter 36. Any church, congregation, or society formed for the purpose of religious worship may become incorporated in the manner following: by electing or appointing according to its usages or customs. At any meeting held for that purpose, 2 or more of its members are trustees, wardens, and vestrymen, or such other officers whose powers and duties are similar to those of trustees, as shall be agreeable to the usages and customs. So let's talk about trust right here, y'all, if y'all ain't understand yet. And may adopt a corporate name, and upon the filing of the affidavit, as hereinafter provided, it shall be and remain a body politic and corporate, by the name so adopted. So do you understand now that this functions as a corporation, but it is not a corporation? Do you get that? This is a church for religious worship. Religious means back to light, meaning back to who we are as people, going back to our state, our customs, our traditions, our habits. You see what I'm saying? This is all part of living the life accordingly. This is how we have our own community. So this is what the Moorish Science Temple of America is. The Moorish Science Temple of America is not a corporation. It's not a 501c3. That is not what the prophet filed. The prophet made the first Vatican before the Vatican came into existence. So the Moorish Science Temple of America is the original Vatican. The Vatican that we have today, which came into existence in 1929, adopted this structure. Do you comprehend that? The same way you have like all the so-called United States were all created in Delaware, because they got a special law in Delaware to where if a person is committing fraud, the person doing business, or the entity or the human being doing business as that person, cannot be liable for it. Only in Delaware they got a law like that. And if you look in Delaware, everything is made in Delaware. The IRS is made in Delaware. The United States of America Inc. is made in Delaware. Everything is made in Delaware, right? Because it got that special law. So Illinois had this special statute and law. Okay? And mind you, right? So remember now, to be to be operating as a corporation, you got to do what? You got to get a business license, right? You got to go and file with the Secretary of State, right? Not with this joint. Only thing you filing is the affidavit. So check this. Section 36. By the name so adopted. So therefore, the name so adopted is... What is the name adopted? The name adopted is the Moorish Science Temple of America. The sheiks, right, meaning one or two, shall be the trustees. So this is why everyone in a tribe should be competent, because everyone needs to be trustees. That means everyone is in control of everything at the same damn time. So mind you now, this stands, right? It shall be and remain a body politic and corporate. So the Moorish Science Temple of America is a body politic and corporate. So if someone asks me what's my country, Moorish Science Temple of America. Now if you want to go in more in depth, Sunel Shia Moor Republic. You understand? Which is a branch off the tree. Come on now. The prophet was talking, man. Section 36. The chairman or secretary of such meeting shall, as soon as may be after such meeting, make and file in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is organized, which shall be recorded by such recorder an affidavit substantially in the following form. State of Illinois, SS County. I, blah blah, do solemnly swear or affirm as the case may be, that at a meeting of the members of the blah blah blah, the church, society, or congregation as known before incorporation held at blah 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 in the county of blah blah blah, the state of blah 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 on the date. Here that purpose, the following persons were elected or appointed. Here insert their names. Trustees or wardens, vestrymen, or officers by whatever name they choose to adopt. Meaning, in my particular tribe, that doesn't mean we call certain roles trustees. We don't call certain people vestrymen. We might make up. We will make up our own title for that position. This is why, whatever name they choose to adopt, with powers and duties similar to trustees. So it don't matter if they're called trustees or not, as long as they're appointed that position. It don't matter what the name of that title is. It's about what job description is. All right. According to the rules and usages of such church, society, or congregation, and the church, society, or congregation adopted as its corporate name, Moorish Science Temple of America, and at the meeting this affidavit acted as this affiant acted as chairman or secretary as the case may be. Subscribe and so inform me on insert the date, name of the affiant. Such congregation, church, or society may change its name or make other amendment to its original affidavit of incorporation by passing a resolution of such amendment in accordance with the rules and usages of such congregation, church, or society, and filing an affidavit to that effect in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is located. Do y'all understand, man? Do y'all understand what that's saying? Yo, such congregation, church, or society may change its name, like Sunel Shia Moor Republic. Our authority comes from the Moorish Science Temple of America, but that doesn't mean that's the name of our organization. You understand? Such congregation, church, or society may change its name or make other amendment to its original affidavit of incorporation by passing a resolution of such amendment in accordance with the rules and usages of such congregation, church, or society, and filing an affidavit to that effect in the office of the recorder in the county in which such congregation, church, or society is located. That means whatever domicile you at right now, whatever territory you in, the county recorder's office.
I'm not so sorry.
This right here is how you attach yourself back to the Moorish Empire. The Prophet laid it out. put everything in the name of the temple. That's what he was talking about. He didn't mean physically be in a temple. That's not what he said. What he said was physically be within a community of people who line up to all these laws that are in place. Line up with people who adhere to the same laws, who adhere to the same traditions, the same point of views, the same culture and customs, share the same history. Reside amongst these people. These are your people, my people. In whatever state territory we're at. File an affidavit, attach that authority. But remember now, according to the Zodiac Constitution, if you do anything with ill will and intent, you are liable to the consequences. 100%. That's on you. You got to come to this with clean hands and a good heart. Real shit. Such affidavit or a copy thereof duly certified by the recorder shall be received as evidence of the due incorporation of such congregation, church, or society. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? This is how simple he made it. That's how simple he made it. This is why I say nationality and trust is important. Because the prophet already saw that amongst the country, known as the Moorish Science Temple of America, that not everyone is going to want to fall under one house. Everyone has the right to create their own house and then create their own laws that govern their house. That's why he said the sheiks shall make the law according to their own temples. AKA church, AKA congregation, AKA society. You understand what I'm saying? Understand, overstand. This is the process. So the Moorish Science Temple of America is an ecclesiastical body politic and corporate. So guess what happens when you line up with that? Guess what happens when you line yourself up with the prophet? You know what happened? When you go and take that, when you go create an affidavit of your trust or of your trust, tying it in to the Moorish Science Temple of America, do you know what you do in your county? Do you know what you do? Once you file that affidavit, you get a copy certified by the recorder. That's evidence of the due incorporation of such congregation. No need for a business license from the Secretary of the State. The prophet laid it out already. There's no need. There is no need to get a business license. This is point blank period confirmation. Now, there is no need to get a business license to conduct business if you are doing business in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So this right here is an ecclesiastical church with a corporate side or corporate capacity outside the jurisdiction of the United States. That's craziness right there. Who the hell would think to do this around that time? That man. And that's why that man is a badass man right there. So this is all you got to do to link yourself up back to the Moorish Empire. This is what I've been talking about for a while, but I'm glad that this today I'm able to make it so clear. So clear. Such affidavit or a copy. You know what an affidavit like that look like? Let me show you what affidavit like that look like. See what this is right here? Declaration of Organization of Ecclesiastical Moorish State. Do you comprehend? Do you comprehend? What do I put right there in the front? Our authority. Okay? Line yourself up. This is what I put down. For what? Sunel Shi Amaru Republic. Do you comprehend? The next task is to go file this. Go file this at the county. Okay? And guess what happens? Guess what happens? At that point, guess what? Everything received shall be evidence. You know what evidence means? Proof. Truth. of the due incorporation of such congregation, church, or society, man. Come back home, Moors. Come back home. So the Moorish Science Temple of America, once again, is not a building. It's a country. It's a country. The prophet left us heaven on earth, yo. I love that, man. He left us heaven on earth. And he called it out too. He says it's going to be about 50 years. It's going to be some time before these Moors figure out what I did. But when they see what I did, oh man, I love that man, yo. I love that man. Yeah, I'm clapping it up for the prophet, man. Because that man is brilliant, man.
Batman brilliant.
Brilliant. Now, let's continue reading. The term of office of the trustees of any such corporation may be determined by the rules or bylaws of the congregation, church, or society, aka your constitution, your bylaws. That doesn't mean you can adopt the divine bylaws and constitution, or you can create your own, specifically suited to fit your tribe and your needs. But guess what? It better be in alignment with the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America. That ain't no like cult thing. We have the freedom to create our trust and secure it back to the empire, whatever domicile we are at. We can do it, man. Check this out. So I'm just continue reading down, right? Bylaws. Now, a failure to elect trustees at any time shall not work a dissolution of such corporation, but the trustees last elected shall be considered as in office until their successors are elected. You don't understand what that means. That means the prophet Noble Dred Ali, was the only successor of the Moorish Science Temple of America until there were other Moors who could wake up and take his stead back in the affairs of men. So until we did that, he made sure he would stand secure as the trustee until others came to assume the position. Right? To take on what? To take on what? What were they taking on? Let me show you what they was taking on. Right here. Right here. The Moorish Science Temple of America, deriving its power and authority from the great Quran of Muhammad to propagate the faith and extend the learning and the truth of the great prophet of Ali in America, to anoint, appoint, and consecrate missionaries of the prophet, and to establish the faith of Muhammad in America. So this is why it's an ecclesiastical government, a theocracy. And a theocracy is a government that's run directly by the people, aka God. The government is run directly through the grace of the Creator, the people. Okay? That's what a theocracy is. So the theocracy literally is no middleman. Once again. That man established this joint in a way where there is no middleman. No middleman. That's what a theocracy is. No middleman. No middleman. People direct. I love it. I love it. All right? So we're missionaries, man. Once we take up this great task, we become missionaries, man. So he already set up the line for consular, consulate, foreign diplomats, public ministers. He laid it out. You're going to keep reading, though. So, all elections of trustees after the first and elections to fill vacancies may be called and conducted upon such notice and in such manner as may be provided by the rules, usages, or bylaws of the congregation, church, or society. No certificate of election after the first need be filed for record. Meaning that once we file the incorporation on file, we don't need to file anything else of our personal affairs on the record. That's what that means. That's what that means. Do you understand? So what that means is once you follow that, that's it. You need not follow anything else after that. That means people, and mind you, I'm comprehending this now. That means people who want to become citizens or members of your particular church or congregation or community or state, and guess what? They can just nationalize directly with the state. That means they don't got to file nothing on the public record. That means you deal directly with the people, no middleman. The prophet did that already. The prophet took out the middleman. He killed him. He murked him, man. In 1928. It's crazy. That man murked him, son. That man murked the middleman. Oh my God, dude. This shit got my skin itching, man. Yo. This is so crazy, man.
Dude, throw that away. Throw that away.
Throw what away?
Garbage.
The garbage?
Yes.
Give it to me. Okay, I'll throw it away. Alright? Thank you. Kente, you gonna like Prophet Drew Ali, man. That's why I got a picture. Ooh, lucky I ain't got my phone, man. I'm looking at this dude picture right now. Islam, Prophet Drew Ali. El Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, man. Islam, brother. God bless you, man. I love you. Thank you. Thank you for what you did, man. Thank you for what you did, man. You did more than anybody. Yo, son, it's so crazy. Nobody can top him right now, son. As much work as other people did. Marcus Garvey, Elijah Muhammad, El Malik El Shabazz, you know what I'm saying? Hermiente Rasbay, you know what I'm saying? Harriet Tubman. Yo, like, nobody's topping that man. That man left an ecclesiastical religious body corporate for us to run ourselves. We don't need no permission. Just gotta let them know. Give them notice. On the record. Yo. So you can become an incorporate. An ecclesiastical body politic which is functioning as a corporation without the need to get a business. Oh my God, man. If y'all just comprehend what this
You ate that.
I did.
You ate that
I did.
food.
I did.
What's that? What's that?
This thing go deep right here, man.
What's that?
I don't understand.
What's that? No, it's you iPad. On it. That noise.
Uh-huh.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
Yes. That's true. But that you too.
Check this.
That noise.
You potty? Yes, you did. Okay. Any congregation, church, or society incorporated under this act may receive by grant or legacy real estate for the purpose of holding camp meetings, and may make such improvements thereon as they may deem.
I'm sorry.
And may make such improvements thereon as they may deem for their comfort and convenience. The title to such real estate shall be in such corporation, subject to like conditions as are provided in this act, in regard to other real estate held by such corporation. Meaning whatever entity you create that's in connection, or you just put it directly in the name of the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? Or just put in the name of the prophet. Your choice. The prophet saved us, man. Save yourself. The trustees or any other persons designated by any such congregation, church, or society incorporated under this act shall have power to publish, print, circulate, sell, or give away such religious, Sabbath school, and missionary tracts, periodicals, or books as they may deem necessary to the promotion of religion and morality. religion, when I look at religion, I just see that as self-love now. It shall be lawful for any congregation, church, or society now or thereafter existing in the state of Illinois, and which is under the patronage, control, direction, or supervision of any ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer, agreeably to the laws thereof, to become incorporated according to the sections 46A to 46H. Inclusive of this act, such ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer may nominate and appoint according to the usages, customs, rules, regulations, articles of association, constitution, bylaws, or canons of any ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer, or sect or denomination residing within any ecclesiastical district or diocese, to act with the presiding officer or authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body, or with the diocesan or like ecclesiastical officer having jurisdiction, agreeably to the laws of any sect or denomination over such ecclesiastical district or diocese. In managing the temporal affairs of such congregation, church, or society, the presiding officer or authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body or diocese or blah blah blah, having jurisdiction as aforesaid, shall by virtue of his office be a trustee of any congregation, church, or society, which shall hereafter be incorporated under the sections 46A to 46H, inclusive of this act, and which shall be under the patronage, control, direction, and supervision of any ecclesiastical body, diocesan, or like ecclesiastical officer aforesaid. So 46B, the presiding officer or duly authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body or diocese or like, having jurisdiction agreeably to the laws of any sect or denomination over such ecclesiastical district or diocese, shall, as soon as may be after such appointment, make and file in the office of the recorder in the county of which such congregation, church, or society is organized, an affidavit which shall be recorded by such recorder substantially in the following form. And this is pretty much the forms of how yada yada you form it. This is what the prophet followed, right? The successor of the presiding officer of any ecclesiastical body or of the diocese, by virtue of his office, be for the time being a trustee of such corporation in place of his predecessor, and when the office of any other trustee becomes vacant, his successor shall be appointed in the manner provided for in the original selection. The number, term of office, and the qualifications of the trustees of any such corporation may be determined by the usages, customs, rules, regulations, articles of association, constitution, bylaws, or canons of the ecclesiastical body. A trustee may be removed from office, or when you say trustee, just think about sheik. A sheik may be removed from office whenever his office shall be declared vacant for a failure to act, or for immoral conduct, or for an abandonment of the faith of the congregation, church, society, sect, or denomination, or for failure to observe the usages, customs, rules, regulations, articles of association, constitution, bylaws, or canons of the congregation. Alright? The trustees of every such congregation, church, or society under the patronage, control, right, blah, 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 after the same has become incorporated under the sections inclusive of this act, and their successors shall have perpetual succession with power to adopt a common seal, which may be altered and changed at pleasure, contract and be contracted with, sue and be sued, plead and be impleaded by the corporate's name of such congregation. Meaning that all things that take place now should be happen in the name of your tribe. It shouldn't be happening in the name of the individual. It should be in the name of the tribe. This is clarity right here. Check this. By the corporate name of such congregation in all courts, whatever, to receive, hold, dispose of, mortgage, and convey any kind of property, to make and adopt bylaws for their government, not inconsistent with sections 46A to 46H, inclusive of this act, or with the rules and regulations of the sect or denomination having the charge or patronage of the corporation. I'm hoping when I read that, y'all caught what I just read. Whatever, to receive, hold, dispose of, mortgage, and convey any kind of property. Trust, y'all. Trust. We getting it in. I'm not going to go through all this because I haven't read through all this. I read through what I read so far, and man, this is deep. I'm gonna put this in the is this what I put in here? No, I'm gonna put this in the link as well. I didn't even get to the act, but you know what I'm saying? I've been here long enough. So what I gotta do now? Oh, gotta go into YouTube now. I got YouTube into live stream. Now throw this in the lane. Yeah, it's gonna be like that. They're always gonna mess with the communications. They don't want this good information getting out. So already that, and also what I'll add to that is I'm bookmarking this joint right here. And y'all should also read the Religious Corporation Act. Uh-huh. Okay. So, like I said, this is what the prophet used, right? The articles. So, I'm going to put this link up there as well. These are really, really good reads, okay? So this is going in the study material section. Be in there. Alright fam, so I'm about to close out, man. You know, I hope I was able to bring as much clarity as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Understanding what we did and what the prophet left behind for us, which is an ecclesiastical body politic and corporation, which is titled as the Moorish Science Temple of America. Alright? There ain't no business license for it. We don't need no business license to attach ourselves and operate, but we must live the life accordingly. Must live the life accordingly. But what I will say is, for those who want to live the life accordingly, according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, yo, the prophet left us heaven, man. So at this point now, it's just time to get to work, yo. It's just time to get to work. Because for me, that was the missing piece right there. I got it now. I'm off to the races. Bang, bang. So fam, thank you for watching. You know what I'm saying? Also, I will be putting in the description section a link, all right, to the to my paid subscription channel, which is my workshop channel. All right, I have a lot of workshops on how-tos in terms of different processes. All right, so I got that going on, and that will be in the description link. All right, for that paid subscription channel page, which is called Sunel University. Right, which is also another way that I'm venturing to fund or help fund my own ecclesiastical body, right? Subordinate to the Moorish Science Temple of America. No issues at all.